afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, the armed forces reportedly taking over the security group of Vice President Sara Duterte after a BNC source says she has received death threats. The Quezon City Police District files a direct assault case against the VP. Meanwhile, Presidential Advisor Larry Gadon calls on the Supreme Court to disbar the Vice President. The Justice Department investigating the call of former President Rodrigo Duterte for the military to turn against President Bongbong Marcos. The DOJ calls it bordering on sedition. And after nearly 14 months of fighting, Israel and Lebanon agree to a ceasefire. Thanks for joining us. We begin with a BNC exclusive. The armed forces reportedly taking over the security group of Vice President Sara Duterte. This comes after the VP allegedly received threats to her life. A source says the AFP chief himself, Romeo Bronner Jr., will head the Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group. Bronner ordered the deputy commander of the Presidential Security Command, or PSC, to relieve all existing military personnel under the VP SPG. BNC also learned charges of obstruction of justice await personnel of the VP SPG who were with VP Sara when she prevented the transfer of her chief of staff, Zulaika Lopez, to a women's correctional facility. Another big news this morning, the Quezon City Police District files a direct assault case against Vice President Sara Duterte. Abante Radio reporter Migo Fahatin joins us on the line for the details. Migo, go ahead.
My officials of the Quezon City Police District, led by Acting District Director Police Colonel Melesio Buslig Jr., arrived at the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office and filed a complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. According to available information, the Vice President will face a criminal complaint of direct assault. The primary complainant is the Chief of the QCPD Medical and Dental Unit, Police Lieutenant Colonel Van Jason Villamor. This is in regards to the incident where the Vice President had an altercation with a policeman this past Saturday before attorney Zulaika Lopez transferred to the St. Luke's Medical Center. We are still awaiting for additional information regarding the full complaint. From Abante Radio, Migo Fahatin. Back to you, Mai.
All right, we definitely need to get more details on that, but thank you for the update. Thank you for reporting, Migo Fahatin of Abante Radio. Another trouble for VP Duterte as presidential advisor Larry Gadon delivers a letter to the Supreme Court asking for disbarment proceedings against her. Hannah T joins us for details. Hannah, what are the reasons cited by Mr. Gadon?
The presidential advisor for poverty alleviation claims the vice president violated ethical standards. He is challenging the Supreme Court to apply the same standards of justice to the VP as it did to him. The complaint stems from Duterte's Zoom press conference where she made inflammatory remarks against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. To recall, Gadon himself was disbarred in 2023 following a viral video in which he used sexist and abusive language against a journalist. The Supreme Court initiated his disbarment motu proprio, stating that his behavior demonstrated a gross lack of respect for the law. Gadon claims his case was politically motivated, describing the court's actions as unfair. He warned that if the court fails to take action against the vice president, he will file impeachment complaints against all the justices. Once a staunch ally of former President Rodrigo Duterte, Gadon has publicly distanced himself from the Dutertes, calling Vice President Sara Duterte immature and lacking statesmanship. He is also urging the Vice President to resign, adding she will face impeachment in the next Congress if she remains in office. Mai?
Hannah, you mentioned that Larry Gadon is now distancing himself from the Dutertes. Does this mean he is aligning himself with the Marcoses, or is this his way of expressing gratitude to President Marcos? Utang na loob ba ito, especially since he's currently serving as presidential advisor? What did he say about this?
Gadon is indeed distancing himself from the Dutertes, even saying he regrets supporting them. He explained that when he supported former President Rodrigo Duterte, it was because as a Filipino, he believed it was his duty to support the government and the administration. As for his current position, Gadon defended himself by saying that it's not out of gratitude to President Marcos that he is doing this now in the Supreme Court. He even said he was earning more as a previous corporate executive. According to him, his work now is simply a commitment to help the president and serve the country. Back to you, Mai.
Hanati reporting. Thank you. The Veterans Memorial Medical Center issues a bulletin on the condition of two OVP officers confined at the hospital. Francis Falve is on the scene at the VMMC. He joins us now for details. Francis, how are attorneys Zuleika Lopez and Gina Acosta? I guess that's the question. How are they doing?
The VMMC spokesperson confirms they are still treating patients Attorney Laika Lopez and Gina Acosta. Dr. Joan May Perez Rifarial of the BMMC read a bulletin to the media this morning saying Lopez and Acosta are under close observation by their medical teams. She adds Attorney Lopez is receiving treatment for acute stress disorder, shoulder and back pains, as well as spinal issues. Acosta, on the other hand, is continuously receiving comprehensive medical care. She added they are not at liberty to reveal specific conditions of their patients but assures the public that they are receiving the appropriate care and attention. She also said that while they understand the public's concern for both patients, they also remain steadfast to their commitment to respect patient privacy and confidentiality. She also said that the regular patients are not be bothered as operations of the military hospital are not being disrupted in any way.
We assure everyone na hindi po nadidisrupt ang operations ng Veterans Memorial Medical Center sa lahat ng kaganapan ngayon. In fact, just to give a background, ang Veterans Memorial Medical Center po, kami ay under sa Department of National Defense. So in terms of security, even before, ay talagang strict na po ang ating security dito at ngayon ay may karagdagan pang added layer of security para sa lahat ng patients admitted here in our institution sa ngayon.
Dr. Refarial also has not yet to answer if the doctors will allow Attorney Lopez and Gina Acosta to attend the committee hearing at the House of the Representatives on Friday. She said they might issue another medical bulletin tomorrow. Mai?
Yes, Francis, I guess that's what everyone wants to find out, if they'll be able to attend the resumption of the hearing on Friday. What about Vice President Sara? Is she there?
VP Sara left early this morning for an out-of-town trip. Attorney Laika is being watched now by her mother and her best friend who flew from Davao the other day. Mai?
All right, thank you. Francis Falve reporting live from the VMMC. ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro says the House of Representatives should review its rules on detention. It was Castro who moved to cite VP Sara's Chief of Staff, Zuleika Lopez, in contempt last week. But Castro says she did not agree to send Lopez to the Women's Correction Facility.
Pero siguro hindi dapat sa correctional, siguro dapat sa mga cell, yung mga jail lang, no, yung mga pangkaraniwang jail lang. Kasi iba yung that should be clear naman sa rules natin, no, na talagang doon lang talaga sila. So siguro i-review rin yung nagiging decision later on ng, 'di ba, kung dinetain sa detention cell ng House of Representatives, dapat doon na lang. Kasi 'di ba, para mas maayos. Huwag na lang doon sa maihalo pa sila sa mga convicted.
On BNC's On Point, Castro said several factors forced lawmakers to order Lopez's transfer. These include the VP's decision to spend the night at the House premises, which became a serious security issue for the chamber. Castro also said she would not reconsider her motion even if Lopez appealed, saying the OVP official was clearly lying to the panel. Hundreds of supporters of the vice president gathered at the EDSA shrine last night as the government launches an investigation into her alleged kill plot against the president. Those who attended say the gathering is meant to both show their support for Duterte and express frustration with how the Marcos administration is dealing with the issue. Some even brought roses to offer to police officers, similar to what we saw during the first EDSA People Power. Bordering on sedition, that's how the Justice Department describes the call of former President Rodrigo Duterte for the military to turn against President Bongbong Marcos. The former commander-in-chief issued that call at a press conference on Monday. The DOJ is now investigating his remarks.
Ang military po ay wala pong kinalaman sa civil governance. At mali po na hikayatin ng ating dating Pangulo na makialam ang militar dun sa remedyo daw sa fractured governance. Mali po yun, criminal in nature dahil it borders on sedition.
Former Defense Secretary Orly Mercado also weighing in. He urges the country's leaders to be wary of such statements and stop the word war.
Words ngayon napakabigat eh. Hindi na katulad ng dati na meron pang mga ilan lang mga TV stations, radio stations, etc. But in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, talagang it's easy to spread disinformation. And you can destabilize things. Kaya ang panawagan natin sa kanila, ating mga leader, lahat sila, huwag na kayong kung may magsalita na kung ano-anong mga akusasyon.
In other news, President Bongbong Marcos back in the country from a one-day visit to Abu Dhabi. Marcos held a bilateral meeting with his UAE counterpart, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Marcos says he conveyed the Philippines' gratitude to the UAE government for its care and respect for the Filipino community. He also invited Al Nahyan to visit the Philippines and further explore areas of cooperation.
At this brief visit, I reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to further strengthen our bilateral ties, progressing towards new spheres of engagement. I look forward to the implementation of several bilateral agreements in culture, energy transition, legal cooperation, artificial intelligence, and digital economy, the improvement of government activities, visa waiver for holders of diplomatic, special, and official passports, and investment cooperation.
We're taking a break. Still to come, the House Quad Committee resumes its probe into the Duterte administration's drug war. That and more when Newsfeed at noon returns.
Welcome to Weather HQ. Today's headlines.
Get to know the latest weather update and forecast.
Now, in the satellite image, we can see the air is covered by the storm.
With information to help us understand important aspects regarding our climate, plus different updates and talks.
A reminder to everyone out there to stay safe and dry throughout this inclement time, and hopefully we can get in contact with him very soon.
Paulo Del Rosario, Weather HQ, 9 a.m. on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
This is The Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views.
I'm Anton Rojas.
Get ready, be prepared, get to the latest stories, updates, and reports about what's happening in the world of sports. Hosted by Anton Rojas.
The Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, right here.
The Scorecard on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Beauty, health, adventure. This is for you. Join Marie Lozano, where she uncovers the untold stories and unexpected surprises in the world of lifestyle.
Where fashion meets art, few events recently capture this synergy. Let me tell you about the Lifestyle Lab.
The Lifestyle Lab on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
ginalaw po kasi yung CCTV. Do you do that in PAO? The upper chamber was invaded.
You're putting me in a difficult spot. Well, I disagree with that. Hindi kami natutuwa sa
But
ganun.
baka fake news.
Laking problema nun.
Naging klaro ho ba sa inyo? May Davao Death Squad o wala?
There was an admission. Sinabi na niya yun.
They went there with one mission.
To kill.
We ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point.
You're watching Newsfeed at noon. The House Quad Committee resumes its inquiry into the Duterte drug war and extrajudicial killings. This is the 12th hearing of the joint committees. Zandro Achona is at the Batasang Pambansa for an update. Zandro, are we expecting former President Rodrigo Duterte there today?
My former President Duterte is not here today, despite his promise to attend the next hearing the last time that he was here. Former Senator Antonio Trillanes is also not here yet, despite promising to attend and submit several documents in today's hearing. Davao City Representative Polong Duterte was also given the schedule of today's hearing, but is not present. However, former PNP officials from the provinces are expected to join in the afternoon. Representative Joseph Stephen Paduano has asked the Quadcom to personally check Police Colonel Hector Grijaldo if indeed the police officer is admitted in a hospital. Grijaldo has earlier said at a separate hearing by the Senate that several lawmakers forced him to confirm the drug war reward system. Congressman Benny Abante and Dan Fernandez denied the allegations. The representative of the Personnel Holding and Accounting Unit of the Philippine National Police said Grijaldo has filed his leave from November 25 to 29 and privileged leave for December 1 to 4. The Quadcom decided to have the PNP medical director and the House physician to check the medical status of Grijaldo, to also check if he is fit to continue his work with the National Police. Paduano warned if Grijaldo is making a mockery of the House proceedings, the police officer may be cited in contempt. Meanwhile, in his opening speech, Quadcom lead chairman Representative Robert H. Barbers maintains resource persons invited in attending today's hearing are voluntary despite threats in their safety. Mai?
Thank you, Zandro Achona, reporting to us from the Batasang Pambansa. After nearly 14 months of fighting, Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah militants agreed to a ceasefire. This clears the way for an end to a conflict that has killed thousands of people. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is ready to implement the deal and will respond forcefully to any violation. The ceasefire agreement was brokered by the U.S. and France.
The United States, with the full support of France and our other allies, has pledged to work with Israel and Lebanon to ensure that this arrangement is fully implemented, the agreement totally implemented. You know, there will be no U.S. troops deployed in southern Lebanon. This is consistent with my commitment to the American people to not put U.S. troops in combat in this conflict. Instead, we, along with France and others, will provide the necessary assistance to make sure this deal is implemented fully and effectively.
We're taking another breather. Up ahead, what was supposed to be an innocent sculpture of a sea snail shell sparks controversy in England. The details when Newsfeed at noon returns. You're still watching Newsfeed at noon. What was supposed to be an innocent sculpture of a sea snail shell sparks controversy in the south coast of England. The wicker shelter has been the target of national and social media reports after it has been compared to the poop emoji. But the artists behind the piece say the resemblance was unintended.
We, as artists, we don't court controversy at all. This was intended to be a periwinkle from the very start. Now, I love the fact that people can interpret art in very different ways, and the fact that some people think it's not a periwinkle and it could be a poop emoji, well, that's up to you to make your decision.
And before we go, all eyes still on Vice President Sara Duterte as she faces numerous controversies, but tensions cooled down for a moment on Tuesday when the VP shared a light moment with our BNC News team during a press conference. Watch this.
Yes, Mr. Bilyonaryo, pahingi ng pera.
I wonder how the news team responded to that. And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.